160. Gewonnen hat Merck auf der Hinten.
Okay, class, my name is Zach Duncan, and what you just watched on the screen a moment ago was an example of air pressure crushing an absolutely enormous railroad train tanker car, like they haul oil or other kinds of chemicals around in. And we're going to do that today on a much smaller scale than what you saw on the screen, but it's the same principle. What you see on the stove behind me here is a small pop can, and in the bottom of it is very simply just some water that is now getting very hot and should be boiling here anytime. So when we get a good rolling steam out of that, we're going to recreate what you saw there on the screen just a moment ago. There are a couple of points that I want you to learn in this whole process, though. And I called this lesson Heavy Air for a reason, because the question I want you to try to answer right now is, does air have weight? Anyone have an answer to that?
I do.
Yeah?
Air does have weight.
Air does have weight. As a matter of fact, if you're at sea level, air has approximately 14.1 pounds per square inch of your body. So, for example, here, hold your arm out for me. Hold your arm out there. If you have about a square inch on his arm, there's 14.1 pounds pressing on that every moment of his life, if he was at sea level. Now, it's a little less here. And the best thing that I can compare this to is if you have ever been swimming in a swimming pool and you swim down to the very deep part of the pool. Anyone ever felt any pressure beginning to kind of press in on their head if they swim really deep? You have? Yeah? Yeah, that's water above you. All that water that's above you when you're at the bottom of the swimming pool is pressing down. Sorry, just checking on the cam there. It is pressing down upon you. And it's putting all that weight on you, and that's what you're feeling. If you ever go up the top of a mountain or down to sea level, your body adjusts for that. And this is the second point I want you to get out of this now, okay? Pressure has to be balanced. So, while air is pressing down on your arm in that little spot I described, your body is actually pressing back out at the same time. So, in our pop can example here, all right, the air is pressing in. And everybody look at the screen right there, okay? You see how the air is pressing in on the outside of that can? Remember I said pressure has to be what?
Balanced.
Balanced, thank you. Balanced in order for the can to stand up. So that next image, you see how the arrows are now pointed outward. Now the can has balanced pressure, so it won't crush in on itself. But what we're going to do in just a minute is we're going to make the pressure unbalanced. I've got all the air pressed out of that can right now.
Yeah.
You want to see this can collapse? Okay.
Yeah.
You have steam, and I know if you can see it right there or not. There's lots of steam coming out of that can. I can hear it popping and bubbling. I'm going to pull these out of the water. Now, these are just ice packs, is all they are, is helping to get the water a little cooler. And we're going to make an attempt at crushing this can now. Here we go. Whoa!
Now we got the can to trash.
So that's what we did, was we turned all that steam back into water, and there was nothing left in the can, so all that pressure just literally collapsed it.
Cool.
Pop! Alright, so the can was literally collapsed by all of the air pressure pressing in on the outside of the can. And that's what caused, and if you look here, that's what caused, again, you can see on the screen there, that tanker to literally collapse in upon itself. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys have any questions you want to ask right now? Yeah.
So, the pool, there's the weight on us? Or?
Yes, yes. And what she asked everybody was, I'll get to you in just a second. What she asked was, is the weight of the air pressing down on us right now, all the time? Did I get that right? And the answer to that question is yes. Do you have an ocean of air above you right now?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. And so that is literally pressing down upon your body at every moment. And I'll give you some handouts here in a minute of what you just saw on the screen there so you can kind of learn about this. Yeah?
If all that air above us was not there, we'll be just floating straight up.
Well, no, that's a different force called gravity, but that's a good question. That is a good question. All right? Okay, anyone else have any questions? Yes.
Is that why we can only go so deep in the ocean?
Yes, it is. And that would be water pressure rather than air pressure, but it's the same concept. The deeper you go, we are at the bottom of an ocean of air where we are right now. All right? And if you go to the bottom of the ocean, then you're at the bottom of all that water that's above you. But the deepest part of the ocean has so much water above us that our bodies can't withstand the pressure, nor can anything we basically send down there. So that's why we've never seen the very depths of the ocean, the absolute bottom of the, it's a 7-mile deep trench, I forget what it's called, but yes,
I bet nothing lives down there.
we don't know.
Because something might, if they even go down there, it's so deep, they'll get crushed.
See, it's really a good question though. We really don't know because we've never been able to get there to find out. It's a great question. So, I got 2 things I wanted you to get from this, okay? The first one is, does air have weight? And the answer to that question is? Yes. Very good. And in order for an object to stay intact, like that pop can before we crushed it,
Must have balance.
it must have
Balance.
balance. You must have as much pressure on the outside as you do on the...
Inside.
All right. Thank you guys. You've been a great class.